Okay, so yeah, I am making another video. I went down to see the baby on Monday night. I got in at about midnight. That was a really cheap train. It was only about £6. But yeah, I got to spend. I basically did the night shift on Monday night and Wednesday night, and I did quite a lot of the stuff during the day, but not. My sister was doing a lot of stuff, and she did do. She did a lot of stuff, and I understand it's a very hard job looking after a kid because you have to do like night feeds and day feeds and often the child, you say, okay, I'm going to wait 3 hours, and then within 2 hours this child just starts screaming out of the top of his head, and then you go and prepare food and he takes like a tiny couple of sips and then stops crying, and then you're just like, well, I've just got like quite a lot left, and I now I need to try and kind of encourage him to finish it. Yeah, it's challenging because sometimes he doesn't finish it. He goes just straight to sleep and stuff. But yeah, I felt like there was a stronger bond with my sister this time, and she did a much better job than last week. But at the same time, I feel like partly the reason why she was doing a better job is because she knows that I make these videos and she doesn't want me to say anything bad against her. So I feel like she was working extra hard. Um, you know, that was good. I wanted to work extra hard, but it does make me wonder, what is she doing when I'm not around? I don't know. My mum is pretty much oblivious to everything that's going on and just sits in the room or not in the house. She's trying to just live her normal life. Like she goes to the cinema like 4 or 5 times a week, and then it's classes, and she's just trying to fit in as much as possible. And I'm just like, you've got a baby, you can't do that. And she said some stupid things like, Sophie does the night feeds and I do the day, and it's fine. But I'm like, but how do you know Sophie does the night feeds? I mean, technically, if you're not up all night, how are you supposed to know if Sophie is doing it? And then Sophie says some quite concerning things to me, such as, um, uh, I don't need to set an alarm clock. I don't need to use an alarm clock because the baby cries and it wakes me up. And then on many occasions, I saw the baby cry and Sophie not wake up. And I'm just like, yeah, if the baby's crying, how do you know that you're going to wake up? Because technically, okay, you might wake up, but how do you know you don't wake up to find that the baby's been crying for an hour? But if you're asleep, you don't know. There was a video clip where she was holding the baby in a very, like, I don't know, the baby looked kind of like that, just here. It looked very, very uncomfortable. Just thinking about it hurts. And I've got some annoying spots on my face now. But the baby also has quite a lot of these spots all over their face. I don't know. Anyway, I yeah, I don't know what to say to. Yeah. What was I saying? So yeah, there's I don't know. She's not doing. She was doing a better job, but I don't know how well or bad she's doing. There's loads of people coming to the house and assessing. I think they're assessing. I don't know if they're actually assessing, to be honest. One of the midwives came and she didn't even do the weight or anything. So, but yeah, there was a clip where the baby was on his head, in a funny position. I showed it to Donnie, and then Donnie passed it on to Ian, and then Ian called Sophie about this video, and then Sophie questioned me because I'm the only person around to take these videos, so she knew it must have been me that's done the video. And yeah, and then she wanted to know why I sent it to Ian, and I said I didn't send it to Ian, I sent it to Donnie. And then she got even more suspicious. Why are you talking to my boyfriend? Actually, she's not ex-boyfriend, she said boyfriend. And it's just, Donnie is someone who, he made out that he was quite close, but I kind of knew that that wasn't the truth. So I was really confused about him because I was like, does he like her? Does he not like her? Like when they're in person, he seems to like her a lot. But when he's like talking to me, he seems to not like her in any way. So I was always very confused. I'm not on his side. I'm still not on his side. I think he's very harsh with some of his criticisms, and it can be very blunt, such as she does. She walks around with a pillow over her ass, and she sleeps with anyone who buys her an ice cream. He's made some very strong remarks, and I don't necessarily agree with them. But at the same time, I am very concerned with this child, and I don't think Sophie can do it. And doing it for a short time is one thing, but doing it for a long time is a completely different thing. And I don't think she can do either. But yeah, the social workers have given me a really bad report, and I have no idea why still. It didn't make any sense to me, unless, of course, that they want to try and build up a bad report. But yeah, Donnie was just like, that seems stupid. Why would you put a child in so much danger But the thing is, though, he thinks that the child is in so much danger, whereas they probably think that the child's only put exposed to a little bit of risk living with them. Whereas I don't know. I guess it's their choice. But yeah, I'm I am caught up a bit too, because on one hand, I don't really agree with everything. I don't agree with everything that Johnny says, but on the other hand, I don't think Sophie's safe with the child. So I'm a bit split in two about what's best. I do know that I'm Christ, and I'm going to tell him, and I don't know how he would respond to this, but I think he needs to know, because I feel like the social workers might actually believe that I'm Christ. Hence, could we explain why they seem to be avoiding me and don't wanting to talk to me? Why? Because if a normal person is saying bad things about you, it doesn't mean anything. But if God or Christ is saying something bad about you, well, it could really affect your job or your life or whatever. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they're trying to not to avoid me too much. But I don't know, because I do believe there's a big group of people who know that I'm Christ and believe, and maybe I don't know, maybe this is the reason why Sophie's taken 6 months to get her flat, because they know as soon as she gets the flat, she's just going to move into that Hawley flat with the baby on her own. And well, Linda and Sophie are a bad combination, but at least there's two of them together. So if something did happen, well, the blame will be going on both of them. Whereas if Sophie's in a flat by herself, I think the social services will get the blame. Why? For letting Sophie have someone who's probably mentally not very stable have a child in her presence. But I don't know. I don't really know what I feel like. There's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes, and I can't make too much of a judgment on it. I know though that Donnie wants to be a big movie star, and well, him being the Joseph figure or the Christ, or perhaps even the father. I don't know who's the father or not. Sophie's maintaining it's Thomas's, and I feel like it is, because I've seen signs. I'm reading signs and I see it, but at the same time, I don't know. Signs can actually mean different things to what you think they mean. So, Thomas dying when I visited Jesus. I mean, that technically his soul could come back inside this body. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's his son. I mean, I would have said that if it's Donnie's son, he would probably be like a DJ. Like his soul would have probably been a DJ in his past life. But then again, I don't really know, because I feel like my higher self is kind of the one that is controlling it, and it's much better to have a living father than a dead father. But at the same time, it's be more believable that it's Thomas if it's his son. So there's two sides of things on that side. But yeah, it is better to have a father. But I don't know. Right now, Donnie thinks that he could be or is likely to be the father, and that's probably a good thing, because it means that he's caring and trying to look out for this kid and trying to do the best for this kid. We'll find out in a day or so. I know it's definitely better to have a father than 50 grand or whatever the will he'll get if it's Thomas's. So if he does have a living father, then that would be great. I'm not a massive fan of this guy. I think he's got an ego way too big. But I don't really know him. That's the truth. I don't really know him. He was showing me this amazing apartment in that a few days ago, but I got a feeling it might be Airbnb or something like that he's rented for one day, or maybe a friend's. I don't know. Because I'm torn between two people and two completely different views. My sister's saying that she just lives on people's sofas, and then him saying that he does have an apartment in LA, and that he has worked with big movie stars and used to be a bodyguard in Hollywood and stuff. I don't know, because the stories are just so different. And Sophie also said that she likes him because he taught her how to be a homeless person. And she said that she has a shed on the beach, and they've slept the night in that shed many nights in the summer and stuff. But I don't know, that sounds kind of fun, but it also is, I don't know. I don't want to say that anything about that, but I know that I'm going to show Donnie my YouTube videos about me being Christ. Maybe then he might believe or not believe. I know he said things like he thinks that I'm one of the sanest people in the family. Maybe he will think differently if he sees my videos. But anyway, I need to know. And there's also something else, which is that he was saying that he was going to tell the social workers, how lucky I am to not have bipolar or any kind of mental illness. And clearly there's a lot of mental illness in my family. My uncle's bipolar. My auntie, I think, has got depression, and I didn't even know I had an 8-year-old cousin until I was 12, because because she stopped contacting with us, and we had no contact with her. And my uncle's always saying that she's depressed and stuff like this because of the loss of her husband a few 2 years ago or whatever. And but yeah, she I think she has mental problems, depression, and my mum is manic, and my sister and my dad are probably autistic, both of them. My dad's probably way worse than my sister, because he hardly ever says anything, and it's just like you can rarely, I don't know, he just does his own thing and keeps himself. But yeah, in the Big Brother audition that I had, there was this, I was trying to prove about reincarnation and saying how it's, if there's a 4-year-old who's amazing at playing a piano, it's probably because he was a pianist in his past life. And well, I don't know if it was straight after or if it was a minute afterwards, but they were talking, a lot of people in the room were talking about, oh, these things, it might be reincarnation, or it could just be DNA and genes. And I feel like most people in the room thought that it was to do with DNA and genes. And well, the fact that my family are all really mentally ill actually kind of proves that it can't just be genes, because if it is all to do with genes, then why aren't I mentally ill? Why aren't I got autism, or the ability to just chat and have no ability to understand if someone likes me or not, or to understand or recognize other people? Mental illness in my family is severe. So how come, if it's all to do with genes, then how come I've not picked up on any of this? Why am I so good at analyzing things? It's because my soul can actually manage my brain properly, and to work things out based. It's because I've had past lives, and everyone has too. But that's how you get smart. And I don't think my mum's been human before, and I think my sister might have been human once or twice before, but I don't think she was very smart then either. So, but yeah, that's what I feel like. If Donnie does go on to he wants to be a Hollywood movie star, if he does go on, he's going to have a lot of bad things to say about my family, a lot of bad things to say about my sister and my mum. And I'm okay with that, because my sister's like the exact opposite to me. She wants one pair of clothing. She wants 6 kids with 6 different guys and doesn't really want to bring them up, and just wants to, I don't know, she said some strange things, or wanting to live in hotels, not a house. I've always wanted a house. She wants to live in hotels, and we're like the exact opposite on so many things. And so if he does insult her in so many ways, it's actually a compliment to me, because she's like the exact opposite. Plus, she is very insulting towards my religion. Leo has a representative, a person who came in saying that I'm Leo because I'm, I don't know, someone who works for the child, as the boss of the child or whatever. But yeah, she said to me that this guy thinks that I'm mentally ill because I think I'm Christ, and therefore I have no chance of having the child live with me. But seriously, I don't know what they're thinking. But if they seriously think that my mum and my sister are more sane or more able to look after a kid than me, then I think that there are some severe problems in the social services system about working things out. And I just don't believe that. I don't believe that anyone can think that my mum and my sister are more capable of looking after a child than me. And yeah, she also said, not only that, she also said that this guy said that I don't have the maternal instinct very much. I'm not very maternal. I'm just like, I don't believe that he said that. One, because he's never met me, he doesn't know anything about me, and two, because you have no maternal instinct. And so I feel like she's just taking things that are faults with her. That she's not very stable, she's not very sane, she's not very maternal, and she's tried to insult me by saying that these people are saying it, hence it must be true because they're saying it, they're professionals and they're saying it, when in reality I don't actually know what they're saying or what they said, or maybe they have told her this just because they want to build up a case against her. But it's true that by putting the child in their care, you've actually put the child in far more danger than the child would be if it was with me. But then again, if it was with me, there wouldn't be anything against Sophie. And then when Sophie gets the keys to her Hawley flat, she's just going to take the baby and run, and there'll be nothing that I can do because I'm not the mum. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but I just needed to talk about it.